Back to the channel, guys. My name is Gene. This is my good buddy Sammy. This is episode 17, Sammy. We are on episode 17 already. Isn't that crazy? For October the 21st, 2023. Sammy, you are just coming fresh off of a Canucks victory against the Florida Panthers. I'm pretty sure you're feeling a little bit happy.
Definitely.
Try to rifle through this episode a little bit quick because my Edmonton Oilers are playing right at this moment against the Winnipeg Jets. So we're going to talk about a few things, but at the same time, the channel must go on and we have to kind of be a little bit thorough on it. And I'm willing to sacrifice maybe a first period. Well, it won't be quite the first period, but first 10 minutes of the first period. Luckily with our technology these days, Sammy, I can hit pause on that, and I'm just basically going to hit pause and then provide all the info tomorrow with Lubed with the Edmonton Oilers. But we have a few things. I changed up the visual format a little bit on this one. You'll notice when you go back and watch it, it's going to be a little bit different. It basically has well, you'll see it when it's done. I'm not going to try to explain it.
Okay.
But it is going to be a little bit different how this looks. So on this episode, we have a few things we're going to talk about. One of them is we're going to recap. I'll get you, Sammy, to recap the Vancouver Canucks performance against the Florida Panthers. I'm going to preview the Edmonton Oilers Jets. We're also going to talk about Calgary Flames prospect who got in a lot of trouble a couple of years ago, and this could affect his career as he's up on some rape charges in Finland. And then we're going to discuss some of the surprises that we've witnessed thus far in the first 3 weeks of this brand new NHL season. It's so good to have hockey back, is it not, Sammy?
It is, absolutely. Definitely.
I'm totally pumped for it. I am totally pumped for it. How are you feeling, first and foremost, Sammy? I know you were a little under the weather last week.
Mm-hmm.
Are you kind of back to 100% or still fighting off that bug a little bit?
Still fighting a little bit, probably about, I don't know, maybe 80%, 90%. Like, mentally, for the most part, like, my head feels all right, but still a little sleepy, still got a bit of a runny nose, sometimes a cough, but for the most part, I'm doing okay, so.
No, you're looking pretty sharp, Sammy. You're looking pretty sharp, so
nice.
That's the best thing. Okay, Sammy, let's dive into the into all the stories here.
Good.
So, I want to get you to give me a recap of what just happened with the Vancouver Canucks. Just like, honestly, a few minutes ago. They did defeat the Florida Panthers. It looked a little sketchy in that third period. I thought we were going to see a very angry version of Sammy tonight. It didn't turn out that way. So, I believe, defeated them, what was it, 5-3? Was that what it was?
5-3, correct. Yeah.
5-3.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Give me your take on the game.
Well, as my dad always kind of said to me and taught me growing up, that a 2-goal lead is the worst lead in hockey. And as soon as Vancouver was up 3-1, I was scared because I have seen 2-goal leads evaporate very quickly, very many times. And that, again, was proven tonight. And it wasn't just proven in the Canucks game as well. It was actually proven in the Toronto Maple Leafs game as well, where the first period in the Toronto game, just quickly, Tampa was up 3-1 at the end of the first period in Toronto. And then Toronto came back and won the game in overtime. So that was kind of exciting. But anyway, Vancouver scores the first goal. It was a beautiful goal by Quinn Hughes on the power play. And then 20 seconds later, Florida ties the game pretty much immediately. and I was not happy. And then I think it was in the second period, again on the power play, Carson Soucy, one of Vancouver's newest additions for a defenseman, kind of our prized free agent signing, scores with 2 seconds left on the power play again to go up 2-1. And then not long after, Pettersson scored to make it 3-1. And so now Vancouver's leading 3-1, and I'm scared because, like I said, 2-goal leads are the worst lead not to have in hockey. We're up 3-1, and then suddenly Sam Reinhart scores a little while later. Now it's 3-2. Now towards the end of the third period, Reinhart scores again. Now it's tied. Now I'm scared because now Florida has the momentum. What's going to happen? This seems like a recipe for disaster for Vancouver. But luckily, under this new system under Rick Tocchet, they're a lot more aggressive. They don't seem to shut down so easily as they did under Boudreau and even under Travis Green, and definitely before Travis Green with Willie Desjardins. They just seem to be more consistent and push more. And so as such, JT Miller kind of dumps the puck in to Phil DiGiuseppe in behind the Panthers goal. He fights off like 3 different Panthers players, throws it out to Kuzmenko, who just beautifully waits out Bobrovsky and just pops the puck in the net. And then a couple minutes later, net's pulled, and I think it was Besser. It was Brock Besser who turned around and just fired the puck square all the way down the ice, dead center, and then into an empty net to make it 5-3, and that's how the game would end. But Brock Besser, 6 goals in 5 games for the Canucks. Elias Pettersson, I think, has 11. With tonight's game, is 11 or 12 points on the season as well in 5 games. Like, they're off to a good start. I'm very impressed with how Casey DeSmith played tonight as well. Very impressed with how Demko has played, even though he lost those 2 games against Philly and Tampa there this week. Weren't really his fault. That game against Philly, he still made like 40-plus saves and made some unbelievably ridiculous saves. Same thing against Tampa. Vancouver just didn't score enough in either of those games, or in Philly's case, didn't score at all. But yeah, tonight's game, really strong showing against the Panthers. I liked how they look. It's games like this where they play against proven teams and good teams that makes me a little excited to see what they can do. But yeah, anyway, I'm excited. I'm happy. It was a good win, and yeah, another 2 points on the book for us.
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to tell you right now, like, the Canucks look so far. I mean, we're 3 weeks in.
Yeah.
But they look for real. Like, they do look for real. And I
They
don't
look
know
pretty good.
if it's the Philadelphia syndrome because the Flyers look really good this year.
Yeah.
is a former Flyer player. I don't know what to say. As far as my Oilers go, they are just probably dropping the puck right now against Winnipeg.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm going to give a preview on it, I'm going to say that they are going to come out all thrusters on. Jay Woodcroft absolutely shit kicked him in the media press conference. He actually swore using the F-bomb that wasn't actually showing on there, and I've never heard him swear. And when I watched Warren Fogel's presser, it looked like he had the fear of God put it into him. So I think this team is going to definitely wake up with a much stronger worth ethic. Will they win? I would hope so. But they also got to have the Hellebuck factor right there, where he could stand on his head and shut them right out.
Yeah.
I do think you're going to see a much stronger Edmonton Oilers team than what we've seen so far. They're kind of off to a bit of a silly start with a 1-3 record. But I think tonight they will make it 2-3. And if they don't make it 2-3, I want to at least see that effort. I want to see this team showing a little bit of commitment to the work. You can't expect Leo and Connor to constantly bail them out. Like, they have to play good. Jack had a bit of a sloppy night, but then again, a couple nights prior to that, Jack Campbell was a .977 save percentage on saving 43 of 44 shots. So he's working his way out of it. So far, what I've seen out of Jack Campbell, I'm actually quite impressed, despite a few hiccup games. But I think he's all right. I don't know who's getting the start tonight, and I have no access to TV right now, so the game is probably just starting. They just finished the national anthems. But I do suspect an Edmonton Oiler win after absolutely getting their, what handed to them by Woody, because that's the most pissed off Woody that I've seen since he's been the head coach of the Edmonton Oilers. Okay, Sammy, let's go on to the next topic, which is the biggest surprises you've seen thus far. What are your takes? What are some things that really, really stand out for you?
I'm surprised that Vegas is still undefeated. They're 5-0. I mean, good team, but starting out 5-0 is surprising. Same with Boston being 3-0. That one I'm really surprised by. I think Detroit is 4-1 or 5-1 right now as well. I think 4-1. They're coming out hot and they're flying right now. They look really good. Buffalo, I think, is 1-3 to start the season, which I am surprised by. I thought they would have had a better start, but I think they'll turn that around. Toronto has been not great to start the season. I think they're 3-2 now, but they haven't looked amazing. Which I definitely expected more out of their roster. Vancouver, I've been pleasantly surprised by. Of course, I picked them to make the playoffs and picked them to be pretty decent this year, but I did that more out of hope that they would be good.
Yeah.
So now seeing them actually performing, I am pleasantly surprised. Of course, there were those two games, Philly and Tampa, that weren't great, but otherwise, I mean, showing Edmonton 8-1 was biggest surprise to start the season, I think, for anybody. I know it was certainly a surprise for you.
I'm still trying to, I'm still feeling the aftershocks of that one.
Oh, I'm sure. Edmonton being 1-3 to start the season, like you said, is bad. That is a big surprise too. But at the same time, I'm also not surprised because I don't have, and I'm not even an Oilers fan, but I didn't have faith in their goaltending at all. I think their overall their forward core, I think is good. Their defensive core needs some work, and their goaltending is very suspect. And I know I've voiced this opinion before, so I figured they would be doing better, but I'm also not super surprised that they're not doing the greatest. And Winnipeg's looked pretty good to start the season as well, as has Ottawa. I've been very happy with how Ottawa's played as well.
I'm surprised you haven't. I don't think you mentioned the one thing, because you did kind of say quite a few things there, but I might have missed it. But what really surprises me is Philadelphia leading the Metro.
Yeah,
That to me is like, what? Like, when we both, I think, pegged them to be last place in the Metro
yes,
when we did our division breakdowns.
yes,
That to me is the biggest shocker, and how they beat Vancouver, and then the Oilers came into town and they manhandled the Oilers.
yeah. I
That
think,
is my number one shocker. I'm not so surprised about Vegas, because I mean, they are the Cup champions, so they're
yeah, fair.
riding off of a lot of adrenaline from winning that cup. Not so shocked about that. I am shocked about the Oilers' start so far, but then again,
Hmm.
I think this is just a thing that they have to work out. Um, Vancouver is actually surprising me quite a bit. That's another team I didn't expect them to do this well this far. But again, once we get to American Thanksgiving, I think we're going to have a bit of an idea of really who are the pretenders and who are the contenders, right? Like, I think
Hmm.
I think teams are going to start coming to earth a little bit. I think Vancouver is definitely playing with a purpose. What I'm seeing out of Vancouver now, and the way Talkett has them going, I see them making the playoffs now. I really do.
Yeah,
And I see a team like Seattle. Wow, they've fallen right down off the list.
yeah, yeah,
So those are kind of the ones that really surprised me. But for me, the biggest surprise is the Philadelphia Flyers, because I thought they were going to be Honestly, I thought they were going to be in the hunt for the number one draft pick lottery. Like that's going into this season.
I still think they will. I do think they will be. I mean, Tortorella is a good coach, is a really good coach, and I think he's going to be able to squeak out wins and points out of that team that they probably wouldn't be able to squeak out otherwise. But I still don't see them being very good. If any, they maybe they'll be seventh in the division, but then who jumps them? Washington, maybe, or Columbus.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I mean, Columbus has looked pretty good to start the season. Actually, they still will be bad, but I think they've looked competitive.
Yeah.
Um,
Well,
Philadelphia, I watched both.
Calgary,
I watched.
they beat Calgary
Sorry.
today. They beat Calgary
Yeah.
today.
Yeah.
And I believe Calgary got a major suspension. I believe I was just seeing, I forgot who
Yeah.
it was.
Rasmus Anderson got 4 games for elbowing and charging Patrick Laine.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean Philadelphia. Like I watched both. I watched that. Obviously, I watched the Canucks game, and Vancouver just didn't look ready for Philly. Like they just didn't look good. Demko was unbelievable, but the rest of the team just didn't show up. Like they just didn't. They just didn't show up. The Canucks forward and defensive core, like everyone other than Demko, was just bad that game. Like nobody played well at all, and Vancouver only lost 2-0. So that one's like, I don't know. Really, how much I can put that one on Philly as more as just Philly took advantage of Vancouver being bad. That Edmonton game though, like Philadelphia versus Edmonton just looked bad in that one.
They were, and I'm
They
a guy.
just,
You know me. I'm the Oiler guy. I
yeah,
do moved in that, and yeah, I'm gonna have a few choice things to say tomorrow when I do my episode of Lubed.
I'm sure.
Hopefully, it gets dissipated by tonight's efforts, but we'll see. We'll see what happens.
We'll
But
see.
they did not look good against Philly, and Jay Woodcroft had every right to rip into that team as much as he could because honestly, if this team claims to be cup or bust, then you better start picking it up, right? Like
Yeah, for
you
sure.
better start, or this will be 100% a bust.
For sure.
Okay, Sam, let's move on to the next thing. And once again, the NHL is plagued with some bad news. I'm going to just read you a statement that ESPN had out. So, this is from Buffalo, New York. Calgary Flames prospect Toby Roney informed his Finnish elite team Thursday that he's under investigation for a rape allegation that occurred 2 years ago in his native Finland. In the announcement posted on his website, Tapera Tampere, if I pronounced that wrong, I apologize, said Roney is stepping away from team activities after receiving a court summons. The 19-year-old was a minor at the time of the alleged rape. In a statement translated from Finnish, Roney said the last 2 years or so have been so hard for the matter to progress. I trust the related course of events will be clarified in the connection with the trial. Details of the allegation rape are unknown because the case documents are sealed and a court hearing date has not been scheduled. Roning was selected second round in the 2022 NHL entry draft by the Calgary Flames and is on his third season playing for Tampere. He appeared in 5 games for Finland at, at the 2023 World Junior Championships. The Flames issued a statement saying they are aware of the potential legal issue involving Roning after the draft. We take this matter seriously and we will let the legal process follow its course, said the Flames. The Flames are playing Buffalo on Thursday night on a 5-game road. So that was a couple days ago when that was released. God, can we ever get away from negative news there, Sam? I mean, we were just
Yeah,
about Team Canada and all that stuff that unfolded, and it's why does this why are lessons not being learned?
I don't know. I mean, I don't really know how much we need to overly uh, go on with this subject as you have read that statement. But it, I don't know. It's just
But these are
there's just some bad people out there,
there is, and it's like
and there's some young kids that just do dumb things too,
key.
which is not an excuse.
You get the
Um,
keys to the kingdom, Sammy. You get the keys to
yep,
the kingdom to a very, very comfortable lifestyle,
yep,
and you piss it away. I regardless of that, or if you're making 70,000 a year, why do you put yourself into situations like this? Whether now, obviously, this is alleged, so I'm not condemning him like he is,
hmm
but he still put himself into a situation where he has to defend himself in the court of law now.
yep, yep,
Whatever it is, he still put himself into a situation where he put himself into, and that's the part I feel where I feel angry about when I hear these stories. Like, know better, man. Like, do better. Like,
yep,
again,
absolutely.
we don't know. I had actually a guitarist way back in the day that was falsely accused of a sexual assault, and the police did actually say nope, it's done, it's over with. So I mean, there are those cases where the like it could actually not actually be an event, but at the same time it's people that are getting themselves into these situations, hanging out with the type of people that they shouldn't be, right? You know
Yep,
what I mean?
absolutely.
So let's hope that for this kid that he didn't actually do the events that he did, because it's gonna like
hmm
he's too young to have a screwed up life, and this will screw up his life 100%. All right, Sammy, I'm gonna get out of that conversation because we don't need to talk too much about it, like you said, but it is something that we need to bring to the surface. Let's get into the stats and the standings right now, as there is a lot of interesting things going into this here, and I'm going to pull up the Eastern standings right now. So, and this is the wild card standings. So, right now in the East, the Red Wings are number one in the Atlantic.
Yeah,
Again, going back to what you were saying, just with the surprises, uh, Red Wings and then Boston. Two of the teams that we actually deemed as like, yep, they're done. You more so on the Boston than me.
yeah,
You got the Ottawa Senators in there. I feel that's comfortable.
yep,
Metro, you got this is surprising. So you got Philadelphia, then it's Carolina. That's not surprising, and then the New York Islanders. For the wild card spot right now, it's Jersey and Tampa, and these are the teams that if the playoffs were to start today, they would not be. And obviously, we're only 3 weeks into it, so I don't want to over examine it. But you got Pittsburgh
mhm,
Rangers, Florida Panthers, Columbus Blue Jackets, Toronto Maple Leafs,
yep,
Montreal Canadiens, Washington Capitals in second last, and the Buffalo Sabres in dead last when it comes to the Eastern Conference. Crazy what we're seeing so far, but again, we're only three
it's
weeks.
early. Yeah.
What do you think is gonna, by the time we do episode next week, who's gonna pull ahead and who's gonna fall?
Um, for the Metro, well, for the Metro, I see Philly dropping. Um, I don't see this being sustainable for them. Again, it's early, so it's hard to say, but I think that at least them and Carolina would swap. Um, I think the Islanders are probably fine at third. I would see maybe Philly and New Jersey swapping, something like that. New Jersey getting up into one or two, Philly dropping out maybe to that wild card spot, and then beyond later. For the Atlantic, I don't see Detroit keeping up at that pace, but I see them still being in the top three. Um, Same thing. Probably by next week, Boston and Ottawa both being in the top three, I think probably makes sense. I would think that Buffalo moves up closer to that wild card spot, closer towards that Tampa level. Same thing with Toronto. And other than that, I don't see much else happening. Maybe Pittsburgh as well if they can move up a bit, but that'd be about it.
Yeah. Well, Pittsburgh, I mean, geez, there's high expectations on that team, especially signing Carlson.
Yep.
They're all in
Yep.
on this season because who knows what's going to
Yep.
happen in the next season. Okay, let's go to the West now. Oops, nope. I gotta go back one screen here. 1 second. Let's go to the West. I made a boo-boo here. Okay, here we go. West. Colorado leads the Central with Dallas and Minnesota. In the Pacific, Vegas Golden Knights 5-for-5 right now. The LA Kings, that kind of surprised me. LA is actually doing pretty good considering that they, they gave up a lot to get Pierre-Luc Dubois and a pretty decent goalie. But I'll tell you what, Cam Talbot is looking pretty sharp for the LA Kings. Calgary's in there with a record of 2-2-1. The wild card players right now, the Vancouver Canucks and the Arizona Coyotes. The teams that are on the outside looking in, Connor Bedard's Chicago Blackhawks, the Nashville Predators, the St. Louis Blues, the Seattle Kraken, the Anaheim Mighty Ducks are actually ahead of my Edmonton Oilers. And then you got the Winnipeg Jets and the San Jose Sharks. So tonight's tilt with the Jets and Oilers should be a pretty good one considering right now they're cellar dwellers. I don't think Edmonton's going to be in the cellar very long. I think it's just a matter of time before they start getting their legs underneath of them.
I would agree.
Before the power play starts picking up, because the power play's been okay, but it hasn't been. I don't expect it to be what it was last year, but I don't expect it to be as bad as it's been this year. I expect it to be somewhere in the middle there. Yeah, and I expect them to be ahead of Anaheim for crying out loud. I don't know what well, actually, they're actually technically tied with Anaheim for 2 points. But yeah, what are your thoughts on the West? What is the most intriguing storylines coming out of the West for you there, Sammy?
Well, you got to think, I guess, in terms of, like you say, intriguing storylines, it would be the fact that I would think that Edmonton and Winnipeg are so far down. Arizona being in a wild card spot right now is interesting. But they have looked pretty sharp to start the season, though. I will give them credit. The Central Division, I don't see those three teams changing. And honestly, I don't see those three teams changing all season. Winnipeg maybe could beat out Minnesota for that third spot. Maybe, but that'll depend on Connor Hellebuck, I think, mainly. So I don't see the Central Division changing much. Pacific Division, with Calgary's, I guess, loss yesterday, and then Vancouver's win today, that'll bump Vancouver into third in the Pacific. Actually, that technically would bump Vancouver into second in the Pacific over LA, because Vancouver will now have 6 points. And if LA loses tonight, which would make me happy because if Vancouver stays in second, I don't see Vegas dropping off too quickly here too soon. I don't know if they'll go to 6-0. I had read the other day that only one other team has gone 5-0, or one other Stanley Cup champion has gone 5-0 to start the next season, and that was Edmonton in like 1988, I think, or 86, something like that. Somewhere in the mid 80s there. They went 5-0, but they didn't go 6-0.
Elite Edmonton Oilers teams is what you're saying.
Yes, exactly. Precisely. Vegas, they could go 6-0. We'll see. I don't know if they play tonight or if it's. I think they play tonight. I can't remember. Anyway, yeah. Other than that, like I said, like Vancouver will jump into, I guess, second in the Pacific. Unless LA wins tonight, then they'll just bump Vancouver to third. Arizona, we'll see. It's kind of fun that they're in a wild card spot. Other than that, you got to think that battle between Edmonton and Winnipeg tonight should be entertaining because that'll be who moves slightly more closer to a divisional spot there, right?
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I think that game, I can't wait to get to watching it. So we're going to wrap this up pretty quick, but we do have one more slide to go over, and that's your point leaders right now. What surprises you the most when it comes to the point leaders? So here's your point leaders right now. Jack Hughes leads the way. Alex DeBrincat is in second. Jasper Pratt, Elias Pettersson, and then Leon Draisaitl when it comes to points. Who do we got here for goals against? It's pretty small. Jordan Binnington, your favorite guy. Your favorite guy. Jordan Binnington leads the way for your goals against average. And then Gorgiev, Allmark, Aiden Hill, and then it's
Soderblom.
Soderblom. Who's Soderblom? What team is he playing?
Chicago.
Is that right? Okay.
Yep.
Wow. Okay. Chicago's got a good goaltender.
So far.
Austin Matthews leads the goals. Save percentage is James Reimer. That surprises me, actually. If anything surprises me, that surprises me.
Jimmy Reimer.
That James Reimer at his age is still performing at that highest of a level. Then you got Sean Couturier with the plus minus, and then when it comes to wins, Alexander Gorgiev of Colorado, which, I mean, when you have that team in front of you, I mean, it's easy to kind of do. But I think out of that, the one thing that surprises me is James Reimer for Detroit shining, and especially for Detroit. I mean, Detroit took quite a hit this summer. They're doing some right things. One thing I notice is this is the season of the work ethic. You're seeing Philadelphia really working hard and getting results. You're seeing Detroit really working hard and getting results. You're seeing the Boston Bruins depleted middle working hard and getting results. So that to me is kind of the theme of what I've noticed thus far in this early first 3 weeks of the season. Your take on everything?
Jordan Binnington is definitely a surprise. In terms of points leaders, not surprised that Jack Hughes, Pettersson, or Draisaitl are in that top few. DeBrincat having a hot start with Detroit is surprising, but that also you can couple that with James Reimer there, as Detroit's just gone off to start the season. Jesper Bratt, of course, he's on a line with Hughes, I believe, and so that line is just going crazy, so of course he's up there. Pettersson, as of tonight, like I said, I think is at 10 points as well, maybe 11. So he's right up on the top there. Draisaitl, with any luck for you, my friend, maybe he'll be up at the top 2 at 10 points. So fingers crossed for you on that one. But I'd say DeBrincat being up there is a bit of a surprise. Jordan Binnington is definitely a surprise. And yeah, James Reimer for sure. I think would be a little bit surprising.
And one of the storylines that I didn't actually publish because I don't want to be too much of an Oilers homer on this channel, but I have to acknowledge it. Earlier this week, Leon Draisaitl broke the Edmonton Oilers all-time record for power play goals, tied by Glenn Anderson and Ryan Smith. And he's only halfway through his career. That record, as long as he stays as an Edmonton Oiler, it's going to be demolished when it's all done and said.
Yeah.
Something I just had to bring up because I was like, I couldn't believe when I heard even Ryan Smith went onto the media and congratulated him for personally beating that record. Because Ryan Smith, I remember when Ryan Smith tied it and everyone was hoping that he could beat it, but he never did actually beat Anderson. So he stayed tied with him. It is now beat. Leon Draisaitl is the all-time leader out of any Edmonton Oiler. We're talking Gretzky. We're talking Curry. We're talking Ryan Smith. We're talking Doug Weight. We're talking all the history of the Oilers. Leon Draisaitl is now the sole leader of power play goals in the Edmonton Oiler organization. Isn't that crazy? Halfway through his career. Halfway through his career. Craziness. Alrighty, Sammy. I think this is going to be a wrap up. This was a pretty good episode. I'm quite pleased with graphically how I did this. When you get a chance to
I'll take a look later.
yeah, when you watch it, tell me what you think of it. I think it
Yep.
went pretty smoothly, other than that little hiccup I ended up forwarding, and I was supposed to just hit the slides button, but whatever.
All good.
One mistake. Sammy, send us out here so I can go and watch my Winnipeg Jets and Edmonton Oilers game.
Okay, well, yeah, thanks for tuning in, or those who will watch this video later. If you like what you saw, hit like, subscribe, comment. We're just two guys who enjoy talking about hockey. We enjoy hearing from you as well. So, like I said, especially comment. Let us know your thoughts. We'd love to hear them so we can discuss them as well and make this more of a conversation with you, the people, as well, and get more opinions in on here other than just the two of us talking and looking at each other. So, yeah. And Gene, go enjoy your Oilers game. Hopefully, you see a win for you, so that we both can be happy by the end of the night. Unfortunately, your Edmonton Elks lost tonight, so you can't be too happy about them. But
I don't even follow them anymore. As soon as they switched over from, honestly, as soon as they switched over from the Edmonton Eskimos, I kind of lost interest.
Yeah.
So I know they're doing it for political reasons and all that, but to me, I just whatever. It just to me, it's just I don't know. I've never followed the Elks really. Anyway, regardless, guys, we want you guys coming in, being interactive with us as well, and leaving comments or questions for Sammy or myself. We will answer them at the end of the episode. But until then, I got a hockey game to watch. Sammy's going to want to watch, I think, the Oilers play too as well. Probably going to do that. And that's about all we got. We actually drug this into almost a 40-minute episode considering the Edmonton Oilers are playing. So I got to get to the game here, Sammy.
For sure.
You have a good night. Yep. As always, awesome episode. We will see you next week, guys.